Did you know there's a wealth killer sitting in your driveway right now? Most people see it as a sign of success, but it's actually the fastest way to stay poor for the rest of your life. Stay until the end to learn how to break free from this trap. Subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments, how much do you spend on your car every month? 1 in 5 Americans who bought a new car recently signed up for a monthly payment exceeding $1,000. Let that sink in. $1,000 every single month for a piece of metal that loses value every minute. The average payment for a new vehicle has skyrocketed to $772. Used cars aren't much better, averaging around $570 per month. But the worst part is that over 22% of buyers are stretching their loans to 84 months. That's 7 full years of payments for something that will likely be junk by the time you finish paying it off. Total American auto loan debt has reached a staggering $1.67 trillion. This figure is so massive that it has officially surpassed total student loan debt in the country. Auto loans are now the second largest category of consumer debt, right after mortgages. Over 100 million people are currently making car payments, and almost everyone treats this as completely normal. Your parents had car payments, your coworkers have them, and your friends post photos on Instagram from the driver's seats of financed vehicles. It's become the background noise of modern life. When you walk into a dealership, the salesman doesn't ask how much the car costs. He asks, what monthly payment fits into your budget? This isn't a coincidence. It's a clever psychological trick designed to distract you from the actual total price and the long-term cost of the debt. When you focus only on the payment, the total price becomes an abstraction. $49,000 feels scary, but $772 feels manageable. This is exactly where banks make their biggest profits, as interest and fees over 7 years can add up to the price of a second car. If you had to pay $49,000 in cold hard cash up front, you would think twice about every single feature. Cash makes people cautious and careful. Monthly payments, however, make us careless, tricking us into spending money that we haven't even earned yet. A car loses 10% of its value before you even hit the first traffic light outside the lot. After 1 year, it will depreciate by 20%, and after 5 years by a massive 60%. You bought an asset for $49,000, and now it's worth $20,000. But your debt remains. This leads to negative equity, when you owe the bank more than the car is actually worth. By the end of 2025, nearly 30% of people trading in their cars were underwater. On average, they owed an extra $7,200 on their old loans. The worst part begins when you decide to change this car. You arrive at the dealership, and it turns out your debt is $25,000, but the car is valued at only $18,000. Instead of stopping, the dealer offers a brilliant solution. Roll that $7,000 gap into the loan for your next car. This is how a vicious cycle is born. You drive off in a brand new car, but now you owe $47,000 for it instead of $40,000. Your payment increases, the loan term gets longer, and you become a lifelong renter of a piece of metal that will never truly belong to you. Remember the most important thing. A car is a liability, not an asset. It is a tool for transportation, not a way to boost your status. By buying an expensive car on credit, you are literally stealing money from your future self who could have stopped working much earlier. We buy cars we can't afford to impress people we don't even know. But the truth is, no one on the road is thinking, wow, he's so cool. Everyone is only thinking about how they look in their own cars. It's an expensive race to nowhere. What does "I can afford it" actually mean? If you cannot buy this car in cash without emptying your bank account, you cannot afford it. Credit is just a way to live a life you haven't earned yet, borrowing from your future labor. Let's do the math. If instead of a $700 payment, you invested that money in an index fund at 10% annually, in 30 years you would have over $1.5 million. You are literally trading your financial freedom for the smell of new leather. And don't forget that $772 is just the beginning. Add full insurance, taxes, expensive official service to keep the warranty, and fuel. Your car eats almost half of your take-home pay before you even realize it. Wealthy people know a secret. They often buy reliable used cars with cash. They let someone else pay for that initial 30% drop in value for just driving off the lot. For them, a car is just metal that gets them from point A to point B. The first step to freedom is to stop digging the hole. If you are currently in debt, your plan should be simple. Pay it off as quickly as possible, or sell the car and buy something cheaper with cash. It hurts the ego, but it saves the wallet. When you free yourself from an auto loan, you suddenly have an extra $700 or $800 every month. These are your first steps toward real wealth. You stop being a borrower and become a capitalist. Now the money works for you, not for the bank. Many say, but a mortgage is also a debt. Yes, but there is a huge difference. A house usually grows in value over the years, while a car is a stone that pulls you to the bottom. You are paying interest on something that gets cheaper every single day. You are paying for an emotion that disappears after 2 weeks. That new car smell is just chemicals that evaporate. But the $700 payment stays with you for 84 long months. Are 2 weeks of joy worth 7 years of financial slavery? A new car requires only official service to maintain the warranty. You become a hostage to dealerships where an oil change costs 3 times more. A reliable used car can be serviced by any professional for reasonable money. Banks have trained us to care more about a credit score than the actual money in our accounts. You celebrate a high score because it allows you to take on even more debt. But true wealth is not the ability to borrow. It is the absence of the need to do so. The hardest part is when your friends buy new BMWs or Audis. You feel like you're falling behind. But remember, you see their car, but you don't see their empty bank account and the stress behind every payment. Be smarter, don't play this game. Over a lifetime, the average American spends over $300,000 just on car payments. That is money that will never return. Imagine that this money could have been your business startup, your children's education, or a fully paid-off home. When you don't have a car loan, you can afford to quit a job you hate. You are not tied to a paycheck from start to finish because your mandatory expenses are minimal. Freedom begins the moment you stop working for your car. If you're in the trap, step 1. Do not buy a new car until you pay off the old one. Break the cycle. Use every spare dollar to pay down the principal of the loan. The faster you do it, the less interest you gift to the bank. Step 2. After paying off the loan, continue to set aside that same amount, but into your own separate account. This is your fund for the next car. In 3 or 4 years, you will have enough cash to buy a great car without any overpayments. You become the owner of your life. When you buy a car with your own money, you feel true power. You dictate the terms at the dealership. You get discounts, and you sleep peacefully knowing that no one can take your car away. Start seeing the car as a simple tool, like a hammer or a vacuum cleaner. You wouldn't take a 7-year loan for a gold vacuum, would you? The car's main job is transport. Everything else is just marketing designed to make you poorer. A reliable used car, 3 to 5 years old, often has the same safety and comfort features as a new one, but costs half as much. Most tech updates in new cars are just toys you overpay tens of thousands of dollars for. Think about your children. Instead of teaching them to live in debt, show them an example of financial discipline. The money you didn't give the bank for a car loan could pay for their education at the best university. You choose status metal or their future. Most people driving luxury cars in your neighborhood are actually living paycheck to paycheck. A real millionaire likely drives a regular pickup or sedan that is fully paid off. Real wealth is what you don't see. Every dollar you give to the bank as interest is a dollar that will never work for you. Over 30 years of driving and switching financed cars, you gift banks hundreds of thousands. These are years of your life traded for a new seat. Before buying your next car with cash, build an emergency fund. If you have money for unexpected repairs, you will never have to take an urgent loan at high interest. Be prepared, and the bank won't be able to manipulate you. Imagine the feeling of starting the engine and knowing, this car is 100% mine. No bank can take it, and no missed payment will ruin my sleep. This feeling of peace is worth much more than any brand logo on the hood. It's time to change the rules of the game. Stop being a consumer who is easily controlled through debt. Become the master of your capital. Every purchase you make should make you stronger, not weaker. Financial freedom is a choice. So, we've broken down how auto loans steal your future. There is a way out. Don't buy what you haven't earned. Value your cash and make compound interest work for you, not the bankers. It's a long road, but it leads to true wealth. If you've watched this far, you're already a step ahead of most. Write the word freedom in the comments if you're ready to give up loans. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next breakdowns of financial traps. See you in the next video.